Whether it's relevant now, I don't know.
Well, I can only speak because I am Mary Blathwaite. I'm Chair of Governors of the Trinity Federation, which includes Easton Primary School. I'm going to begin to talk about some facts to correct some of the inaccurate information regarding the school that seems to be circulating, not least in the planning application. The current capacity of the school is 210 pupils. And the number of children on roll at the moment is 153, and that was as of last Friday. So actually we have technically got a surplus capacity of 57. In September we're expecting the number on roll to rise to in the region of 165 pupils, but obviously we don't know in February what's going to turn up on the door in September, but that's what we're planning.
Sorry, was that the Trinity or just Easton?
No, just Easton. No, the Trinity, between us, we've got 377 pupils. In Easton, we are expecting the number on roll to rise to approximately 165 pupils, giving us a notional surplus of 45 in September. And we currently have 7 class bases, that's classrooms, and only 6 classes. So we have been in conversation with the local authority and with Easton College since 2010 about expansion of the school. And recently, we had the consortium, well, fairly recently, before Christmas, we did get a meeting with the consortium of landowners, which was Margaret Dewsbury set up for us, about the expansion and about what we would do when it becomes necessary, if it becomes necessary. And this has led already to the provision of the 2 new class bases last summer. The local authority are well aware now of the possible need for further expansion should these current plans come to fruition, and they are committed to funding the expansion of the building, for which there is, we believe, adequate space allocated on the enlarged site on the plans. And as a church school, we also have a lot of support from the Diocese of Norwich to help us ensure that we can accommodate children from the village whose parents wish them to attend the school. We currently do have a real problem with the parking outside the school, which we're trying to address. And I mean, everybody I know is commenting on that, and it's a nightmare. And we hope that this issue will be properly addressed in any detailed plan for the expansion of the school, and we'll continue to press for that. But I mean, them doing a survey on the Thursday of the spring bank holiday, when neither the school nor the college were there, so they couldn't see how many children were coming, they couldn't see the cars parking, and they couldn't see the college traffic, really was totally unrealistic, and we have made that point. We also have asked repeatedly that if and when the school expands, that it has a separate access off Marlingford Road for the pupils to go in, because at the moment we have got the preschool, we've got the school, we've got vehicles, we've got school parking, and the same access as where the children are all walking into school, and that isn't a situation that can continue. And the only way we're going to be able to solve that is if we've got more land, because there's no other way onto the site. The current leadership of the school have already proved that they can cope with school expansion. In 2007, the school had 85 pupils. We now have, in 2015, 153, rising to 165. But during that period, the school Ofsted rating has risen from satisfactory to outstanding. So we are coping, and we can cope. The school's nearly doubled in size in that 8-year period already. And we're very proud of our school, and I've talked to the deputy head on Friday, and she's asked me to say that she'd be happy to meet with anybody and talk to them if they're worried about this. So that's where I come from. I can't speak for any other school, but at the moment we're okay.
Thank you. There's just Melissa wants to speak. Is that all right?
Yeah, all right.
Okay, my name is Melissa. I'm a local resident. I've got 2 children at school. I'm also the chair of the PTA, so do a lot of fundraising for the school. I have to say, Mary, I do apologise. Mary has already confirmed quite a lot of the details that I was going to say, and it is a school that most of the village are very proud of, which is why we do the fundraising and we like to send our children there. Some of the things I'm going to slightly contradict with from what I found myself, but that's in my opinion. Now, College Heights was built. I sat there last night and counted the amount of children at College Heights that go to St Peter's. It's actually 28 children. Now this is 100 houses. In my opinion, 900 homes could bring an extra 250 children to the school. Already the school hall cannot cope. It's all good having classrooms, but there's nowhere for the children to go. When my child started going to the school in 2011, we had assemblies for both Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. Unfortunately, the school cannot do this anymore because of the size. Also, I now have children who are another child who's in Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, so everything has to be split. We get invited for family lunch. Unfortunately, there isn't enough space. People have to either eat standing up or sit in a classroom. I believe the piece of land that's been allocated, unless we go double story, is not big enough. But in the foreseeable future, unfortunately, the hall is not big enough. It's all well and good having the classrooms. So therefore, my opinion would have been, or my question to South Norfolk would have been, what are they going to put in place before they start building? Because quite quickly, these additional 40 spaces that are floating around, which the classroom that they are having to use is very small, because some people in here, our children used that classroom last year and it wasn't the greatest experience for the children and the staff. Therefore, my question to South Norfolk would be, how are we going to protect the children to have a good schooling and keep the school to be proud of and keep it as outstanding with Ofsted?
Well, as far as I quite agree with you about the hall, but I mean, if we get a new build, we'll get a new hall and new classrooms. It's not just classrooms they'll give us, but unfortunately, you have to have the numbers of children in order to, justify. And if they know that those numbers of children are coming, then they will build in advance.
But when? That's
I don't.
Yeah,
well,
no, you don't know.
we don't know.
But that's
we
what
don't know.
South
But all I can say about in defence of the county council, I don't often say this. When they built the Queen's Hill School, they built a 7-classroom school and only had enough children to fill 2 classrooms, and they was absolutely berated in the press and had letters going all over the place of people saying they were wasting taxpayers' money building a school too big. I know it's now too small, but they can't get it right whatever they do. So I mean, it's difficult. It's all timing, but I have to say that as governors, we would be on their case the whole time. And we do have the backing of the diocese, who also would be on their case. So, we would do our level best. It's our job to provide the school for the children that are here. And that's what we will do.
Thank you very much, Mary. Sorry. Well, if you
Yes,
like to
thank you
start.
very much. I've only been here 2 years. I understand the car parking. I'm going to keep it quick.
As always.
I'm actually going to ask why we moved the community hall and pronkered it beside the school with 10 spaces, which is on the plans.
Yeah.
People who have the afternoons there, they're going to be 25 cars in, parked along the road. In addition, the school traffic that's going to be trying to pick up the children.
Well,
Leave the, let me finish.
sorry.
Leave the village hall here, because everyone's opinion is it's big enough. There's a car park for 50 here.
20.
Leave the land.
20.
Listen. Leave the land down the road by the school for future expansion or possible car parking, entrance, dropping off school things to alleviate the car parking problem for the local, very local residents. People don't only live in Easton who bring the children to school, I believe. They come from other areas. So not bringing your car is not an option, because there's no transport unless you drive a tractor.
Well, firstly, I do realise about the school that every school's got the same problem with parking, but the idea was to have a village hall with a large car park that could be shared by the school. That was the idea.
The here says there are going to be 35 people in this hall, and those people have driven there because they're waiting back. Where are those people from the school going to park in? And how they will just overload the
Well, I think
school
that's
traffic.
detail which we're not obviously going to
Yeah,
do
but
there.
you must get the detail right.
Yeah,
before
well,
you
this
do
is
it.
outline
Because if
planning
not,
that's
you end
going
up with
forward.
rubbish. You must get the detail right.
Yeah, we
before you
understand
can move
that.
forward.
We understand that. Thank you.
Safeguard.
do you think we've done medical? Oh, sorry, someone's turned it off. I'm losing it. No, do you think we've done medical, Doctor?
Yeah, I thought it was more appropriate to address it to the planning people while
Yes,
they were here
I
rather
agree.
than
Yes.
everybody kept his agenda.
Does anybody else want to say anything about medical facilities? Because I think Doctor has been very, very good about it. And I agree with what he says. No, we're on to doubtful surveys. Doubtful surveys. We know there's some. Well, we do know there's one that where the traffic was monitored when there was no school and no college. We do know that one. But does anyone know of anything else?
Yes, please.
Oh, Mother.
Can you hear me, or do I need the mic?
We have a mic.
Thank you. My name is Margaret Hart, and I've lived on Woodbury Road for the past 44 years. My question's really with the planning, but they've left, so I'll address them to the chair. One day, while working on my allotment, a man and woman entered the site and very hurriedly collected what looked like sheets of roofing felt from various areas around the allotment, adjacent field and small wood. I watched them and they didn't even look underneath the sheets before they removed them. I approached the man and it emerged that they were doing a newt reptile survey. I questioned how he was able to record any data as he was only carrying the sheets of felt. He replied, "There's no need, we already know what the results are going to be." Other concerns of parishioners, as Mary have pointed out, was the survey of the school during half term. And another one is that St Peter's pathway is lit, which is inaccurate as only some sections have lighting. How can we have any confidence in the fidelity of any surveys being completed? And this is me personally. I just feel Easton is our village and it's up to us to protect it.
Thank you, Margaret. Is there anybody else who knows anything about peculiar surveys?
Only the traffic one that I mentioned, you've got to cross the road in between every car, every 4 seconds.
Sorry, yes.
Brenda, as you know, I live next door to the school, and I'm obviously chair of governors, and they did a tree survey and didn't notice the trees in the school wood, or notice any of the wildlife that was in there with it. I just, or that very large oak tree, which nobody seems to know who it belongs to, outside my house. I just know how they missed it.
Oh, thank you, Mary. Well, at least that wasn't laughable move that we've arrived at.
I ask a question for Margaret.
Yes.
Margaret, are you going to be taking all these concerns for, because she's South Norfolk left, for some one reason or another?
I'm making notes as best I can. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
Yes.
Hi, it's Claire again. We came up with a question that says the planning document incorrectly states that St Peter's Path, which is the main public footpath and cycle route for the entire proposed development between Borber Road and Marlingford Road, is lit and hard-surfaced. It is not. It is narrow and quite easily worn. How will St Peter's Path be improved and made suitable for the increased number of school children, bicycles, residents and commuters that will need to use it when there is insufficient space to widen it because of properties being there? Is it realistic to think that the secondary schools and round-rail GP practice are walkable, as the document suggests, and as Veronica said, when in fact the pavements are incomplete or non-existent, and there are no pedestrian crossings over the busy A47 slip roads and onto the Longwater Retail Park?
Well, actually, that is a country footpath, so it doesn't need to be surfaced.
But with the number of residents we're going to be having, one of the things I actually looked at before I came was a document that gave the council's answers to the government's wish that everything, the planning documents that they have, it's over there, I can't actually remember what the details were, sorry. And one of those things is that when a new development occurs, they have to make sure there is adequate cycle path and footpath between, to enable the residents in the villages to have access. We do not have footpath access to any other part. We can get as far as the showground, but we can't access Longwater safely. Now, that means the council's not actually fulfilling their obligations according to government directive by not making sure that, by not ensuring that that pathway is complete for pedestrian and cycle access.
And disabled.
And disabled.
We have to say that we fought hard and long to get that footpath.
I know, and
we have tried to get it across, and there was too much money involved.
This isn't about the parish council. You did a wonderful job in getting that pathway done. We all really appreciate it. I see lots of people moving. Yeah. No, you did a really good job, Brenda. But the point is that the planning department need to make sure that the developers and the council put that path in place. But I'm saying this to put it on record because, of course, it's being videoed. Okay.
Also, that part is in Crossing, not in Easton.
That is crossing.
But it would be developers' responsibility, surely, to ensure that there is good access.
Just to add to that, in the same report, that I can give you the reference if you want to read it, they expect your children to walk 3 miles to Ormiston Secondary School.
Yes.
Are you happy for that? Across those roundabouts, without any pedestrian crossings, it says, providing a pedestrian crossing is put at next. So you've still got to get your kids across at the showground, which with their own figures saying cars every 4 seconds. And they say that it takes 8 seconds to cross the road. Now, I've tried to walk it, and actually you've got to be quite fast to do it in 8 seconds. So with a kiddie, pushchair, shopping, disabled, just being a bit slow, you're going to get killed.
Can I just say I've got 2 kids at the 6th form, which means they're not now entitled to free transport to school. There is not a cat's hell in chance I would let them walk, even though they are now 18 and 16, because I actually want my children to get backwards and forwards to school alive. So if you're not prepared to do something about putting a footpath to enable our kids to get safely backwards and forwards from one end of Norwich to the other, then speak to the local council about still ensuring they have school transport up until they have reached the age where they leave full-time education.
The same report, so we're not just talking about children, the same report also expects all of you to walk to Roundwell, GP practice. It's just the mile.
You may have heard the gentleman from the highway. You may have heard the gentleman from the highways agency talk about a number of schemes to improve the road traffic situation. There were 23 proposals. They whittled them down. And number 3 is cycle and pedestrian bridge over the A47 from Easton. So that's jolly good for the able-bodied. I don't fancy you poor ladies with your pushchairs trying to go over a bridge over that, but that's the only solution I see they have put here.
Can I just ask one very quickly? Are there any guarantees we think that South Norfolk planning will actually put in place that these things, which are safety orientated as well as access, will be done before the development occurs? There's no point, as people have said, in building 900 houses and not having the infrastructure and the safe pathways in place. No, I know, but I'm just saying, in terms of I get to stand up. Make sure
Actually, I am standing up if you're not. No, well, it's got to me and it's died. Okay, the thing I think we ought to remember tonight is, and that South Norfolk now, the people from the South Norfolk Council sloped out while we were all having our conversations, which I didn't think was very good. But I think the thing we have to remember is that in all big projects, in anything to do with any projects or any agencies, there are what you call key phrases, key words, key areas. And if you find the right vocabulary, the right word, the right area to complain about, to put forward your argument, they will notice and they will listen. They will not listen whether we think it's unfair of them or not. This is my personal opinion. They will not listen to groups of people saying, we don't want it, we haven't got any, we've got nowhere to put them. You have to find the key words, such as safety, environmental and health effects. All of these are key words which when you're actually sending your comments in to the planning people, you have to include those. And if you do include those, then there's more chance that they'll take notice than just saying, we don't want anybody to be in our village because we like our village as it is. We all like that. We all want that. But we have to find the buzzwords. Now, if you contact, and that's the action group, there are big action groups that have done wonderful things in and around this area. You have the people who stopped the expansion at Heathrow Airport, you have the incinerator people, and you have the Marlingford people down there. They were things not wanted by any community. They must have found the right way to get their voice heard. And I think the action group could get in touch with them and find out what were their buzzwords, how did they do that? Because we are just ordinary people, we don't know, or at least I don't know. I think that perhaps that would be a good step forward. I just felt like you ought to sort of think about that as well. Yeah?
From the point of view of the action group, we'll call it EAD, Margaret has offered to speak to us about what people would obviously like, or not like, should I say, to come to the village. So obviously we'll be looking to get together with Margaret to pick up all those views again. They're online. We have reviewed them all. We have reviewed all of the reports. Obviously there's lots on there. And obviously we welcome everybody's comments and support, and it's all about joining in together to get the message home. What Linda said is absolutely spot on. The comment, oh, I don't want to lose my back garden view, or this, that and the other, doesn't really cut any mustard with the powers that be. We've got to get key reasons to get planning turned down. Yes, we're casting doubt on surveys, it's a good start, but they'll re-survey. It'll be within reason on the new surveys.
Highways and drains and sewage.
Yeah. The highways gentleman, bless him, sat on the fence. Couldn't do much for us tonight, bearing in mind he didn't really look after perhaps the local roads. But I still think there's an argument there that obviously his slip roads link obviously onto the local roads, and issues on local roads screw up the slip roads. And he got away scot-free tonight. I think he referred to the roads as clunky, and we're doing what we can. Well, there was no confidence there, and we're going to sort it out. So I think he needs to be called to question on that one. But yeah, as Linda says, we've got to pick out genuine reasons why we kick this out. All the individual, perhaps, comments at the moment possibly have to take a back seat, including my own personal and my relations. It's all about what people would take notice of at South Norfolk Council, planning departments, government departments. Chris's comment regarding bonuses appearing to go towards South Norfolk, a very interesting one, and I thank him for his research too. So let's just work together as a village. We'll work with Margaret and the parish council to kick this out.
Is there any other items?
Madam Chairman, I've got an email from pt7 campaigns by you, and it said, we very much want to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions. And I've put through some thoughts and opinions. I'm Anthony Perry. I've lived in Norfolk for 70-odd years. I've lived in Easton, came to Easton as a village to retire to. It's a village of 600 houses, but the Landowners Consortium have decided to build over 900 dwellings. It's a threefold increase, ruining village life as we know it. The so-called landowners really do not care about the environment, and it shows that they're not here tonight, so it proves that. It's all about money, greed, call it what you like. Most of them don't really live in the village. It's just money. And as I say, money talks. Yes, it sure does. People have to live somewhere, of course. And whatever the local parish council agrees to, it will be overruled by the coalition government. You only have to watch the local TV channels to see it on the news that local councils who object to extra housing are being overruled by Parliament. So whatever you or we decide, it's a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. Despite all the problems of the infrastructure, the overcrowding of our local school, the local doctor's surgery at Roundwell, with over 12,000 patients, they have difficulty in coping now. How will they manage with more people needing care? And the road problems. Bill, Chestnut, have you ever tried to enter the roundabout at Diocesan House? The traffic on the southern bypass speeds at a terrific rate, and I have found the only way to get onto it is foot down, close my eyes and pray. It's a nightmare. We have been promised a local shop. Now, how long did it take Brenda Danes to get a post office in Easton? Why do we need a local store? We lost one before, now a hairdresser's. The builders promised some amenities for more of Queen's Hills. They're still waiting. Each proposed new dwelling will have a possible, as Veronica said earlier, 2 cars to each property. And I agree with her figures, it's 1,800 vehicles, let alone the construction lorries working on various sites. Yes, I agree, we need more housing, but let's talk sensibly. 900 dwellings. Think again before we become Greater Norwich. Sorry folks, it's going to happen, but hopefully not in my lifetime.
Well, I think I'll bring the meeting to a close now. Sorry. Okay, I've obviously got something else I didn't say.
Can I just, because I think there's overwhelming support for this tonight, can we urge you please to fill this form in or to do it yourself, to go home tonight or first thing tomorrow, go onto the e-petition, and has been pointed out so brilliantly, do the e-petition, but also go on to the South Norfolk planning site, 2014/2611, and put your objection on there, but put on there about the key issues that we've discussed tonight. That's what we need. If you want us to do it for you, we will. Just fill in the bottom of the sheet. We'll do it all for you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you've all benefited by coming here. And could you please put your chairs back? I don't know where it is.